Hello everyone and welcome to another Warmonger 12 YouTube video, but this one's a different one because I haven't done this game in a while. It's called EVE Online. It's quite a popular game actually, over 500,000 subs now according to whatever it says on Wikipedia. Anyways, this series I'm going to start here on the Chimera, well, and carriers in general, on EVE Online since the big changes were made. I only recently became a cap pilot and I'm actually enjoying it quite a bit, doing a bit of PvEing and trying to get getting all the carrier fits out and getting them ready. Anyways, what I'm planning to do is, well, introduce you to the new series I'm going to come up with, and it's going to be focusing around the new carriers. Well, not really new carriers. The changes were made to them, reviewing them, trying to suggest fittings that will make them a lot more effective, e.g. in PvE or in PvP situations. Though PvP will be a lot further down the line in the series, as I still need to organise people who are willing to go out in a carrier fleet and have some fun that way. So, carrier I'm looking at today will be the Chimera to start this year off. Currently I've still lacking a couple of skills to properly fly it, but in saying that, it's massively passive tanked with a little bit of buffer into it, so PvE really isn't an issue with it sitting at 70k off. But my issue with the Chimera is its capacitor. Bloody drains it whenever you, well, shield tank it overly much. It just dies the cap. Though in saying that, it's got a perfect balance between shield tank and DPS, which other carriers like the Thanatos doesn't without logistics. Now the Thanatos, yes, is a nice carrier. Now I will come to the Thanatos and Nidhogger down the line in the series. As at the minute I only have the Archon and Chimera, so this series will be spread out a wee bit on when it's creation time, as you know, carriers can be a bit on the expensive side when fitting them out and getting them ready out for combat. Now we're going to have a quick look at the fitting here for the carrier. As you can see, it's pretty tanky. 3 DDAs at the bottom, and the briefcase or damage control unit, which gives it pretty decent resistances all across the board. Its main resistance will be in shield tank. As you can see, it's got 714,000 base effective hit points. At the minute I'm thinking of switching the ward amplifier for another shield extender, and soon I'll be faction modding it. Now as you can see, we've got 44 minutes left in the cap, with the network sensor rate constantly going on. Now if you take it off, it's cap stable, and as soon as you turn this here on, it will stay roughly cap stable. So without further ado, once I get the skills I'll turn that on properly. I've just been using the passive tank on it at the minute. Without further ado, I'll take this carrier and have some, well, ratting in it if there is, well, any reds about. Just let me check her. Well, I can't really complain about me giving intel away because this video will be old by the time it's done. Anyways, before we actually go out, thank you, it's clear. Anyways, I undocked this here. Yes, I know it hasn't got an online module. That there's the worst part about it. At the minute, as you can see, I've got someone's bugging me in TeamSpeak. The fuck poked me? Someone poked me in TeamSpeak that I don't know. I'll get back to them later. As you can see, I've loaded 3 Templar squadrons. Now, the range on targeting is 6,000 kilometers at the minute for me. My defensive went up due to boosts. Now, when I turn on my adaptives, which I'll soon be putting out for Caldari Naviamps, well, Caldari Naviam vulnerabilities, and then Dead Space hopefully, the defense will go up to about 1.6 million, so it gives it a really nice active tank. With about once this here is activated, it'll give it a 6,000 DPS tank, with about 3,000 DPS on the field and able to apply. Now, this carrier is quite an impressive one, and the fact is impressive because of the sheer fact it's a perfect balance between shield tanking and DPS, whereas most carriers is one or the other. Like on the Archon, is either DPS or tank, Or the Thanatos is other, you don't really get a choice because it's a glass. It just does pure DPS. The Thanatos is insane. I think you can get an extra 1,000 DPS on that thing, though it just melts without logistics. Whereas a Chimera would be the more difficult one to put down, though it would lack the same DPS as the Thanatos. Now, getting on to this here carrier. Some people may say this fits wrong, but they'll say that there because 4 invulnerabilities. It actually works out more EHP having 4 invulnerabilities than specifically tanking. If you're going to get dropped, they're not going to aim for one specific damage. They're going to aim for what you're weakest on, so you'll need Omni tank. So, without further ado, warping to this PvE site. As you can see, I actually have about 200 and we'll actually have over 300k once I get the final skill up. Without further ado, I'm going to land on this here site. Oh fuck, someone's already in it. Whoops. Yeah, someone's always in the closest site. Whoops. Anyways, on to the next one. We'll warp to that one to see if anyone's there. ain't that a bit embarrassing? Anyways, in reserve in my flight hangar, well, as you can see, I actually carry 3 MTUs. My fighter bay always carry 10 Templars. Though in saying that there, I'm only carrying 10 Templars because I'm running one site. Usually I would carry a lot more. Well fuck, I thought I scared the living shit out of him there. Now if I'm going out and there's a risk of reds, at the minute there's no risk, I would carry 19 Templars, just extra, and about 12 Equids. Meaning I cannot constantly field squadrons, and well, decimate the enemy drones, as most people fly Fexers down Providence for some fucking reason. Don't quote me on why they fly Fexers, like, it's beyond me. I'm not a huge fan of the Fexers. But anyways, in my opinion, the Chimera and the Nidhogger would be both quite tight on what would be the best carrier in my opinion. Both would be quite well designed, personally. They both give a nice balance. But, in saying that the Nidhogger may get more DPS, but it's got a far less tank. It may have a decent tank than Nidhogger, but it's not as good as the Chimera by far. It's about 1,500 DPS tank less than the Chimera when I worked it out. So in saying that there, the Chimera is superior in that aspect, but the Nidhogger has about 800 more DPS, so it's a personal opinion in that there one. Do you want more tank, or do you want slightly more tank or slightly more DPS? They're both about the same in that aspect. So, without further ado, we'll begin this here site. Dropping out this MTU. Still waiting for that spawn to come in. Yep, first wave's in. Save location. Drop squads. As you can see, the Templars have a burst speed of about 7,500, though it can be, well actually it's about 8k with actual skills for it. As you can see, they actually melt through the cruisers. That's with just pulse cannons, not using their rockets. So this site will actually be pretty fast for this year's review. Overall, the Chimera is a great starting carrier, as it allows you to be able to do many things with it. Due to that fact, it's one of them that carriers you can't go wrong on. Well, you can always go wrong, you can always fuck a fit up. There's nothing worse than fucking a fit up. But what can you do? You always learn from your mistakes, but messing up the carrier is a very expensive one. Anyways, so as you can see, the carriers hit pretty hard. You take 3 battleships down simultaneously, pretty fast. Each doing about 1,000 DPS per squadron, compared to maybe a battleship only applying 1,000 DPS to one at a time. This applies it across all 3. I worked it out as my Chimera having 3,007 DPS, So that would be about 1,001 DPS, 1,002 DPS per battleship it's facing. Which I know the battleships down here have a tank of up to, they can tank, I think it was like 500 DPS or something like that there. I worked out their top tier one tanking about 500. So it drops in pretty fast in that aspect. So I'm still taking my time in doing this here so I can get a bit more time doing the talking about the Chimera. Looks wise, the Chimera is gorgeous. Though to be fair, it looks like a freaking battleship from like Battlestar Galactica or fucking Star Wars or Star Trek. To be fair with it, as you can't, there's no predominant like hangar base. They're actually in the middle, in the hull, the hangar base itself, which is pretty strange for a carrier. Whereas in the Archon and other carriers, you predominantly see the hangar bay. So in saying that, there's a very smart design, as it means it's always protected. So you could look at it that way, as offering an always protected hangar bay. So that means it's safer for, well, the ops really. Our number one safety tip personally from if you go out carrier or ratting is warp in at 70. Personally 70 is a sweet spot in my opinion. Warp in, drop MTU in a line straight away. Tell her the Citadel or the station, preferably a Citadel. Though, in saying that, station can work sometimes as long as the guys don't warp it and bubble it, which they usually do, so it's not always the safest bet. Your best bet is warping to the station. Not the station, sorry, the Citadel. There's just that many Citadels that become they're more common than fucking stations now. They're beginning their takeover. Now, our fighters can have a bit of an issue hitting frigates, though they do deal the damage out quite harshly to them, as you can see. That's my only issue really with it. Though in saying that there, I'm still training up my skills in this aspect. So I'm still pretty new to it in some aspects. Anyways, so far the Chimera, as you can see, its applied DPS is pretty impressive personally. Though I think I could I could sacrifice tank for a bit more DPS, and I plan on pushing it well over 3,000 with faction, well, Caldari Navy I think it is, damage jumps, which will give me about another 9% more DPS, hopefully. And well, I want Pith type B adaptives by the end on the forest tank, and 2 Concord shield extenders instead of the EM ward amplifier, on which at that point I'm looking at about 1.9 million EHP roughly. I think it was, or was it 2.4? It was one of the two. At full, when it's all maxed out. Can't remember, I need to check my fitting tool at that point. It was one of the two numbers. But the Chimera in general is a nice carrier. I would suggest it for starting off. If you're getting into train for a Chimera. There's not much you can do wrong personally fitting it. It's one of the it's a first time friendly carrier. It's like the Nidhogger. It's on the friendly side. Whereas the Thanatos, if you fuck up a fit in the Thanatos, you're fucked. As I seen one getting lost to a 10 out of 10. The D site, if you look on the guy concentration or something you call him, he lost his Thanatos. Like, come on, he lost it to a fucking DED site. As rats, he lost a carrier to. It sort of shows you need with carriers like that there, you need to be careful on how you fit it. Now, as long as you fit them correctly, even if you get someone to help you fit them, it's best sticking to a Chimera because you can't really go wrong in the aspect of fitting it. Now you're probably wondering why I took it out with one of the offline modules. It is because I love this carrier. It's one of my favourite carriers to talk about. I enjoy it greatly. So I thought I would start off on this side and take a wee bit of a risk. Because why fuck not walk on the wide side, you only live once like. But, so, the Chimera. Its fighter bay is pretty mediocre to be honest with you compared to other ones such as the Thanatos. Bring up the Thanatos now. As you can see, well, when it loads up, I need to scale the Thanatos. That's why it is going to be a bit in the spread side. Yep, that's still fine. Where is it? it's got 70,000, so with max skills that's 25% more. 10, 7, 14. You've got about 90,000 fighter bay on that there, where this here maybe have 40. Well, sorry, you'd have 70 roughly at max skills. I still got 2 more levels of train on that there, so definitely in the amount of fighters you can hold, the Thanatos has a superior fighter bay. It can carry far more fighters than any of the other carriers. Though in saying that there, it lacks so much more tank than the other carriers because of the fact it's fully focused on DPS. And due to that there, you can't tank it effectively without logistics or losing all the DPS that it get bonuses to. Where is it? Now if you look at the the Nidhogger, it has 65,000, and so it's got a little less than the Thanatos. It's actually got the same as the Archon, I think. Possibly, I need to check that, or is it a bit more than the Archon? It's one of the two. But the Archon's probably the next carrier I would suggest going for. Then, out of the Chimera, the Nidhogger would be best to trade into first, though personally I think the Chimera is the best way to go. The Nidhogger can be a bit foodery with the fit, as it can either get really good DPS and really shit tank. It's really hard to get good balance on the Nidhogger. Though in saying that there's plenty of fits about for it, and there's plenty of people willing to help you fit it. So in saying that if you got good corp and they've got good fits, by all means go to the Nidhogger first. It's just my personal opinion on this here one. Personally, the Chimera is personally the first one I would send a new cap pilot to, because of the fact it's a shield tank. It's simple, it's not difficult to use, and it can tank. Like, there's no going wrong. It's simple. It's got its tank slots and it's got its DPS slots. It's then got the rigs. The rigs, you can fit them out whatever way you want. It doesn't really affect the tank too much. Whereas I put the large core field extenders on, because I prefer a fully tank. I prefer having the full tank and sacrificing some DPS on it. So if I do get hot dropped, I can wait it out. Like, it's not the first time that people have run out of ammunition trying to get through my shields. Even someone ran out of ammunition ganking my Archon and left it when I disconnected. So, saying that there, it's still all personal choice fully. Now, I would personally, I suggest that you, pardon me there, the ciders aren't going down too well. Personally, I suggest always carrying a Sino on your ship, no matter if you're doing PvE, always carry one. Especially if you're in a group that can field larger numbers of capitals. If they're close to you, someone jumps you, you spark that Sino and you get fleets and you get help in instantly. Now, saying that if you escalate, they can easily escalate it back, probably depending on who it is. Like, some group, I need to recall. Yeah, that's no issue. You've got the time to recall. Oh, I love looking at these here flying. They're so gorgeous. Flying back to the carrier. Carrier's bloody massive compared to them wee things. Now, where was I? Yes, when you Sino someone in, it could also be a trap. They could escalate it further, and you could escalate it, and it could just wild out of control. But in saying that, most gankers don't escalate more than Black Ops. So if you drop in 3 or 4 carriers and they drop in 5 or 6 Black Ops, you're gonna win that fight, hands down. Or if you drop in battleships on top of the carriers, field logistics properly, you're gonna wipe their fleet out. And well done, you've just got your first carrier kill or help. Now, it's not I've done this many times in my carrier personally. I've had people come in, try and fight with me. Happened earlier actually the day my friend got his first Thanatos kill in his carrier, which was he's still trying to find a kill mark for on where it goes in the carrier. I really don't know where it goes in the Thanatos. So it was a big. So it was quite a special day for Abba and his Thanatos. No, my only issue with the Chimera is the capacitor. It dies really easily if you don't watch it. If you cycle things and you make sure as long as you keep an eye on the capacitor on the Chimera, you're safe. That's the only issue with the Chimera, is its cap. It can be your best friend or your worst enemy in this carrier. It's that simple. There's no, oh, don't worry. The cap will be your nightmare. It will be your doom if you don't do it right. But I'm saying that there, as long as you keep it done right, it will work fine. Personally, like the Archon, I've got it. My Archon's cap stable, and it reps itself. Really, it's cap stable because I put the boosters in. I've been moved to. Okay, I've been made fleet boss for some reason. Oh, everyone's went offline. How nice. I've been ditched. Now, talking here, back on the carriers. I'm such a bloody loner, you know that now. Anyways, back on the carriers. There's every type of carrier has different meanings. Every carrier has a different play style. Some you could argue are very similar, like the Nidhogger and the Chimera, and sometimes the Nidhogger and the Thanatos, depending on the fit. The Archon is simply a tank. It will sit there and it will take a beating with 90% resistances and keeping cap stable. It's that simple. The Archon is a tanky fucker. Now, if you look at the Thanatos, it's not that tanky. It sacrifices all that. But without rambling on again about that, go back to Chimera. The Chimera is worth about 1.3 billion roughly. You can fit one T2 for about, in total, less than 3 billion. Though if you want the faction fit, you're talking about maybe 5 billion, including the ship. I wonder if we got any faction spawned this year one. Nope, no factions. How depressing. Time to send in the fighters. High speed. see if how fast we can drop all these here cruisers. They're the worst, but they absolutely decimate your fighters if you're not careful. Now if you get rid of them fast enough, don't have to worry about anything like that. As you can see, the cruisers are dropping pretty fast to carriers, which is, well, to the Templar ones. Some people prefer Templar 2s, but for the expense, they're not worth it in my opinion. They're far too bloody expensive. Though, in saying that, there are some people prefer the Templar 2s. I'm not overly sure why though. Some people just have the ISK to use them. But some people prefer to actually make their Templars. I was actually thinking of training into doing, because it's so much more cost effective. Like 4 million, like it's about 40 mil per squadron, put it that way. Now in saying that there, if you do it right, you won't. A squadron will last you a lifetime actually. Like I maybe lose 1 or 2 fighters a day, and it doesn't affect my wallet. It's that simple. So losing 1 or 2 fighters isn't too bad. Even if you lose 10 fight a squadron, you still made money because you're running 2 sites. In Barnties, you made the money back, so it doesn't really affect you much. So why worry? Now I'm hoping to actually be a bit of an escalation here and get the Dreadnought spawn and show you a bit. Well, get a group in here, get a couple more carriers in, and do a bit of a compare them a bit. Sounds a bit on the dodgy side, like let's compare dicks, but that there's a bit in the fucking dodgy side, as fucking people make jokes like that on our, well, it's Finko, let's be honest. We all make they make jokes like that fucking constantly. Now, Finko's a great corp. I love Finko. If you're in, by the way, we're actually recruiting at the minute from what I know. If you enjoy PvE industry, PvP roams, and nullsec in general, actually check us out. We are in Provi. We follow NRDS, but we take our own wee fleets, which I have the experience of trying to FC today. But I will be learning more in FCing, so I can finally become a cap FC and take our cap fleets. But this year, Finko's a great bunch of lads. If you're in it for a laugh, a good joke, check Finko out. Join Fult's a good, well, Fult in most aspects is a good corp. Well, it's a good alliance. But personally, if you ever think about moving into nullsec, check out Finko and Providence. It's quite a good corp. I'll enjoy that. I've enjoyed every moment being down here. They're very helpful. They've been very nice. They'll help you out with everything you need to get it set up down here. They really will. They're the nicest bunch of people I've met in a while, Neve. So with this site coming to a close, unless the Dreadnought spawns in, we'll jump back to the, well, Citadel. That was at the station, so I can go back to the station actually this time, which is a shock. Usually you don't get that option. As you can see, that time I didn't lose a single fighter. Thank God. But then we fuckers are expensive. Anyways, time to call them back. Nope, didn't get any escalations. The one cool thing about fighters is they actually follow you in warp. That's a pretty handy thing. So if I get jumped, I warp out and leave my fighters. I just click recall and they come to me. Actually, fuck that. I'll actually deploy. I'll leave them here and I'll show you what I mean. Once they refuel, I'll deploy all 3 squadrons and I'll jump out and I'll recall all of them. It's actually pretty cool to actually warp information, which is actually awesome. So you don't have if you ever worry about that, well, what happens if I forget my fighters? As soon as you click recall, they'll come flying back to you as long as you're in the same system and don't dock. They will fly back to your carrier. Their warp speed's pretty impressive actually. Don't wonder if it says tributes. Nope, it doesn't say actually what their warp speed is, but it's actually pretty impressive. So there we go, all 3 squadrons are launched, as you can see. We will warp to 0 on the station.
Warp drive active.
Yep, I know the warp drive's active. Turn off my hardeners as I don't need them. Come. I'm warping to the Citadel now, as you can see. Left the 3 squads there. Slowly coming. Well, it's quite a long journey back here. That's why I just want to go to the Citadel. So this video near the ending here. Once I have to turn it back around and head back to the station after my fighters come back, I would like to sum up what I've really said. The Chimera is pretty much the perfect balance in my opinion. It's got a great balance in tank and in damage. Now, I'm saying that there does have drawbacks, such as the shield tank is really cap heavy and can be very heavy on the power grid and capacitor in general, and CPU, depending on what mod you fit onto it. Now, as personally, I believe that this here carrier is one of the perfect starting carriers for someone to go into, as there's no real difficulty in fitting it, and it's easy enough to find your way and find what you like. So That's why I would say this carrier is probably one of the better ones. And as you can see, I'm now going to recall my fighter squadrons as it comes up returning. And watch this here. And maybe I'm tethered, yep. They're coming in. They'll be here in a few. They'll be here in about 5 or 6 seconds because they're warping 30 AU. I always continue my summary. See, all three, they've all warped back to me. Then they'll all return to the carrier, which is pretty impressive, to be honest, that they do that. Now, in summary, like I've said, the Chimera it works well. It's got to be my favorite carrier personally. I like the Nidhogger. I haven't fully tried the Nidhogger. Still need to get one. I've only ever tried it on the test server. The same with the Thanatos. They both have their good points and their bad points, but the Thanatos is not my type. Is not my cup of tea personally, as it just lacks the tank. I like to be able to support myself if shit hits the fan for me. I like to be able to go, okay lads, I can hold out here. Get ready. Don't just warp in willy-nilly and get yourself killed. I can hold this. Take a couple of minutes, prepare, and then come and help. Or, okay, I can handle these group of guys because I don't want to waste my friend's time if I don't need to. As on my I shouldn't really want to. I don't want to waste it too much for my fuck ups. Like if I fuck up in the carrier, it's my fault for fucking up. I shouldn't expect them to come and possibly lose a ship trying to defend me. So if I give them time to repair, it minimizes that chance. Anyways, just to finish this here off, when I'm warping back here to the station, the Chimera is quite an impressive carrier. It's the Caldari Carrier. I've also had fun on the test server with the Wyvern, which I've had up. I think I got 21.9 million effective hit points on it. Something insane like that there. But in saying so, I'm trying to push this to its max potential, tank and damage wise. I think I've worked it out. I can push this here when I get full faction fitted at 2.48 million EHP with 3,200 DPS once I get Tech 2 Templars, which gives it a nice start. It's a nice carrier to start off with if you've got the skills to fully fit it. Like passively tank this carrier works well. I know I shouldn't really be flying it without that one last module, but it's my favorite carrier. I love the balancing. I love how well it is. Like on my Archon, it's fitted fully at the minute. I'm retraining into shield tanking at the minute. I've got level 5, pretty much throughout the board in armor tanking. The same on shield tanking. I'm level 3 and 4, and some level 5s on shield tanking across the board. So I'm getting that up at the minute. So without further ado, when I'm docking up here, I'm going to end it's going to be the end of this video of this here first of a few videos on the carriers and Eve. Hope you all enjoyed it. I hope you like my review because it was different for me to do. I've actually never done something like this here in this game. It's usually just me fucking about in Eve when I done it. I actually never thought I would do something like a serious vid in Eve online.
Docking permission requested.
Is it me or is that voice so depressing on this game? Like docking request accepted. It's like so depressing. It like makes you want to go fuck life. You know that? Couldn't have been something more happy, like your docking request has been accepted. Welcome to the station. Had to be
Docking request accepted.
docking request accepted. It's just like so robotic and depressing. It couldn't have been any better. It could have been nicer, put it that way. Not so depressing in that aspect. But anyways, this is a review on the Chimera and my ins and outs on the Chimera. If you're wanting to know the fitting, Fighter Support Unit 1's soon in 4 days. I'll be Fighter Support Unit 2. Well, sorry, it'll be 4 days when I come back from New York. It'll be Fighter Support Unit 2's, Sino, NSA, more damp until I fit 2 Concord shield extenders, 4 adaptives, 1 capital shield booster, 3 DDAs and 1 damage control unit, and capital core field extenders, which will be switched out for Tech 2s eventually, and well, they'll slowly be switched out whenever the ISK comes in for them. Yeah, we ISK Kitty for bringing up the modifying the carrier, slowly growing. It's up to 400 mil, and the minerals is up to 336. So it's slowly building up the wee kitty to upgrade this carrier and get it fully faction fit instead of fully tech 2. So it will be an impressive carrier, which I'll do a video on it once it's fully factioned out. Anyways, without further ado, thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I hope you enjoyed this here review and video on this here carrier. I know some people's going to criticize it, and I actually do welcome the criticism, as I want to try and make the fits for PvEing a lot more safer for people to use, as I know it's risky PvEing in anything down in nullsec, but especially risky in carriers. But I would like to say thanks for watching. Any criticism is welcome. If you want to actually message me in game, we can actually chat about it. I'm happy enough to do that, and we can discuss ideas. Joshua D. Reed. There we go. Joshua D. Reed. Well, there we go. Joshua D. Reed. Feel free. Yeah, you gotta love my title. Joshua D. Reed. If you want to message me and talk about carrier fittings and have a little yarn in general, or you want to ever go on a wee room with me, or anything, or if you have questions, or if you have any questions in general about flying PvE carriers, I'm happy enough to chat. Feel free to contact me, and that's it. Please like and subscribe. Hope you all enjoyed the video, and thanks for watching. I will see you again soon.